Hey, this is GatorX, and the other day we got a trailer for the much anticipated Detective Pikachu movie, and predictably, people weren't completely happy with the looks of the Pokemon. It did take me a while to really warm up to them, but I wouldn't go as far as to call them ugly, offensive, or the worst thing that's ever happened to the franchise. I think the problem is that Pokemon have never been this detailed in official media. The art style has always been relatively simple, and the anime is pretty standard in terms of detail. The CG Pokemon in this movie are in a weird spot between imaginary creatures and real living creatures. Actually accomplishing this is a challenge, and this is how the designers decided to handle it. And overall, I think they did a great job. Pikachu has been relatively widely accepted, it's just so cute and deserves all the hugs. Jigglypuff has been getting a lot of flack for being shown as fuzzy for some reason. Now, Jigglypuff is a made-up fairy and is classified as the balloon Pokemon. There's not much to go off of aside from a hair swirl and mammal-like ears, which imply that it should be furry. Exactly how furry can be debated, but I think this is the logical choice. I mean, if we're sticking with more realistic textures, I suppose the alternative for Jigglypuff would be flesh, and I don't like how that sounds. Charizard and Greninja look scaly and tongue-y, which is weird. Both of these, again, are just realistic textures for a dragon and frog. And again, with these two, the reason I think they look weird is because they're real and we're not used to it. They're made-up creatures. All of these Pokemon look fine in their own world because the rest of it matches the aesthetic. And things seem uncanny when you bring them to the real world after being in a fantasy world. Mr. Mime looks predictably freaky, but somehow I think this version looks less terrifying than literally any other Mr. Mime. The tiny hairs on top of his head are unsettling, and there's been an odd amount of complaints about his dodgeball shoulders. The shoulders I can't really defend, aside from maybe the Pokemon Stadium 2 minigame. Although I think the issue is bringing a human-like Pokemon into the real world. You would all be crushed if you saw what a realistic Gardevoir would look like. Although between you and me, I'm hoping to see Lopunny in this Detective Pikachu movie. Now, we have seen Pokemon with more detail in Pokken Tournament, but the overall look of that game is still pretty cartoonish. Although if you want to see what Charizard with Pecs looks like, just go ahead and play Pokken. The goal of the Detective Pikachu movie is Pokemon in the real world. If these Pokemon were just their typical 3D models dumped into a real world, a complaint might be that they might as well have just made the movie animated, which I'm sure is a valid complaint for the movie as it is anyway. But at the same time, general audiences and even your typical Pokemon fans don't even watch the animated movies anyway. A lot of people have been wanting a live-action Pokemon movie for years. And now that it's finally here, a large complaint is that the way in which they were brought to life isn't satisfactory, due to these characters originally being very cartoonish. Now, I think there might have been some way to make these Pokemon look realistically textured while looking a lot more like their in-game versions. How specifically, I couldn't tell you. I'm not a professional Hollywood character designer, and it all comes down to personal taste. Like I said, it took me a few viewings to get used to the designs. But I'd just like to say that if these Pokemon weren't distinct enough from their in-game versions and don't fit the visual style of the real world, then what's the point of a live-action movie? But anyway, let me know what you think. Are these Pokemon alright for this movie? Do they actually look really, really good? I think Pikachu looks great. Or are these an abomination to Pokemon overall? Leave a comment below and we'll continue the discussion down there. Like I said, the whole idea of these being quote-unquote ugly all comes down to personal taste. And so you can't really give a definitive answer. Yeah, me personally, I really do like the designs now. Like I said, I much prefer this Mr. Mime, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out, and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.